everyone. Welcome to our channel, Flavors with Boo and
Potato.
And today, guys, we coming at you with one of the hottest topics that's been going around. Why do people stay in abusive relationships?
There's a whole lot of reasons, but actually a lot of people that's in these abusive relationships, they have family members or friends these days who will often say to them things like such as, why are you staying? Why you just don't pick up and leave?
Mm-hmm.
It should be easy to leave. Just call the cops. But little do they know, it's more difficult than that oftentimes. A lot of times they're dealing with a lot of different dynamics that make it just complicated. But today we want to talk about 10 things that's keeping people stuck in these abusive relationships. And I think the number one topic that we'll discuss that's keeping these people in abusive relationships is fear.
Fear of leaving. Fear of leaving. So many people are so fearful in relationships where they're being abused that if they leave, they think something serious is going to happen to them. And that's a problem, to live in fear, so every day they walking in fear and they don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to.
Okay, but the thing is, what's actually causing the fear? Why are they so afraid? What's making them afraid?
I think a lot of people are afraid because the person they with, maybe they wasn't like that at the beginning of a relationship. And they scared to tell people now since it changed and the whole person came out.
So basically what you're saying is that the individual that they were in a new relationship with was actually being a wolf in sheep clothing?
Yeah, that's a possibility, I think.
Probably so.
Yeah.
And then what? Maybe a little time kicked in and
he showed his real color, or she showed her real color.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times when it comes to fear and the abusive relationships, I'm not saying women do not assault men, but most of the time it's normally men that are doing the assaulting. There's a lot of women out there that you see on social media these days that are actually assaulting men, though.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times you hear the woman is unable to leave out of fear and intimidation with that relationship.
And I agree, because it becomes dangerous for them, especially if they have children involved.
Yeah, so and I've seen and I've heard about a lot of women who've actually been in abusive relationships, and I've seen the fear firsthand and I know well about it, and I think today many people have actually witnessed it or was in, growing up and they seen their parents or sisters or friends, being in those type of relationships. And it's very hard. It's hard to offer assistance, or you could offer things, but a lot of times those things you're not there with them every day.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I remember this young lady years ago. She had a boyfriend, she had a baby by him, and she was trying to end the relationship, and he came back. He came back and he murdered both of them. The baby and the girl. So abuse is real in these relationships. So that being said, fear oftentimes to a lot of these young ladies in these abusive relationships seem more dangerous to do than not doing. So they'll just stick it in there.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not a good idea either.
It's not a good idea, but probably if you was in that situation, you just don't know what to do. They don't know what's right. They don't know what's wrong, because fear have you just thinking all over the place.
Right.
So you just don't know. you know what to do. And that's such a sad situation when people get involved in stuff like that.
Yes, because a lot of times these guys that they deal with, they be tough characters. They might be softies to other grown men on the street, but these be big guys, mean guys, and it could be some other guys could be kind of deceiving and be looking real soft, quiet, but they could be the worst ones.
Yeah, you
So
just don't know who to expect to be in a abusive relationship. You don't know their upcoming. You don't know what they've seen growing up. Some people follow suit. Some people are against it. So it's just so hard to really pick out people like that.
right, I get it. I get it. So that was the first topic, discussion. That talking point we like to that spoke about was the fear. And another one is what you think another one is.
Why do they feel like they love the person? Like, I still love that person. They still in love with the person.
They still in love with the person that they abused by.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because a lot of women now, I have came across several women who was in abusive relationship, and they will say, "But I love him.
Right.
I love him."
But I believe that this particular question that the individual still love them, this may not be in a normal. This doesn't have to be in a physical abuse. This could be mental abuse. So women can really create mental abuse in relationships also.
Right, they can.
But the individual's a man who loves that woman who's getting mentally abused by, he might find it hard to get out the relationship because there's a lot of other things that he fell in love with the woman from. The memories of them at the beginning of their relationship when they did things. They had children together. They created a life together. So it gets kind of difficult sometimes to just leave a relationship, when you done created things together. You agree?
To a certain extent. I'm like, how could someone love someone and hurt them at the same token?
Yeah.
How could you tell me you love me, but then you abusing me, not only physically, but mentally as well?
True.
I don't find that love.
Well, it's not.
It's not love.
No.
So I don't care about what memories he might have.
Well, I think that go along with the saying that misery loves company.
Right.
So sometimes people just get it confused, thinking that they still love these type of people, but you're just getting kind of complacent, and you're getting kind of caught up in, the misery part, and just confusing it with love, and it's not love.
And a lot of people don't even know what love really is. It's so easy to say, I love you.
Right.
And, love somebody is how you show them love, not how you tell them love.
Right.
So a lot of women love to hear a man say they love them. Not even if the man not even treating a woman right. But if the man say, I love you, some women are happy just to hear that.
Ooh, just a simple
I love you. And they're not showing them what love is really about because they don't know.
But that ain't enough if you're getting called out your name, and if they're putting their hands on you or whatever. That's, to me, you do all of that, it's non-negotiable. It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
You put your hands on me, and that goes both ways, men and women, because I've heard it come from men also, who have women who put their hands up on top of their heads and call them all types of names, and they still stuck in those relationships because they had things invested in those relationships. So it can be tricky. It's tricky.
And when you come in a relationship, you have to tell people what to expect in a relationship anyway. Remember when we first started dating?
Right.
And remember what I said to you.
You said
a few things that if you do to me, I will leave you.
And I believed her. When she told me, folks, my wife told me, she said, if you put your hands on me, or if you start cursing me out and all these treating me bad, or cheat on me, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And I believed her, and it was never a problem in that.
Right.
And people used to always ask me, Sneed, why you sticking in why you always hanging with your wife? I said, because she's my best friend. Hey, and I know what she expect from me. She know what I expect. We treat each other right. So,
and that goes to say when people in a relationship, and as soon as that man give a woman that sign, or that woman give a man that sign of abusiveness, that's when you step out and you step away.
Right. It shouldn't be no second chance.
Yeah.
To, if somebody done put their hands upside your head, you're
not going to do it again.
You always hear him or see him talk about, well, he ain't going to do it again. Or he cried to me or she cried and all of these things, gave me some flowers and, took me to dinner. That's not enough. That's not enough, ladies. I remember being on a public transportation one time, and it was on a metro bus, and I'm riding down the street looking out the window, and it was this young guy, and he was with this young lady. They looked like they were maybe no more than 18, 19, and he took his balled up fist and punched that young lady.
Well, we would have been fighting.
And I remember yelling out that window because the bus was moving. I was like, don't put your hand on that lady, that young girl. And he looking at me crazy, and they both walked off together.
Brainwash.
So violence in relationships is toxic, and a lot of people stay in these relationships regardless of what these people are doing to you. Like you said, the first time it happened.
The very first time.
Because you never know when it might be your last time that it happened.
Right.
So
what you think is another topic that...
I think, which we kind of hit off a little bit, is they hope that it will change.
Oh, yes. And they tell them that often. And the only reason I'm speaking as if I know about this, because I knew several women who were in abusive relationships.
Wow, we all did. I did too.
I talked to them over and over, and they were like, he said he's going to change, and he's changing. And he would change temporarily. But soon as something flipped, he goes right back to what he was doing to her from the get-go.
Yeah. I've heard a story where it was this young man, and he was this grown man. He was a grown man. He was probably, at this time this happened, I remember it happening around 20 years ago. The guy that he was around in his late 30s, and the girl, she was new. She was young. She just got enrolled in Howard University.
Wow.
And from the story, the guy told me that the young man didn't allow her to leave the house.
Oh.
Because if she left the house, he was going to kill her.
Jesus.
So he started locking the doors where she couldn't get out the apartment that they lived in and these type of things. So I've heard horror stories when it comes to these type of things, and these type of guys, they don't change.
They don't
change. So it's no such thing as look, you can't change them. They can't change them. Only the one above can change these type of people.
That's it.
And it's on his time, not your time. So
when some women think they can change the man.
Right.
They think they can change him.
No, you can't change no man. So don't count on that one, people. Do not.
And again, it may, but it depends. But I just don't have too much faith in that.
No, that's not a good one. So the next topic, the next bit of discussion, I think that a lot of people stay in these abusive relationships for is because they become financially dependent upon that other person. This happens quite a lot.
Yeah, that's really sad. You have involved with an abusive relationship, and that man don't want you to work. He wants you to depend on his income.
Right.
He want to give you little scraps of money as an allowance.
Right.
I mean, I've seen that happen before. You sitting back waiting on his money, because he don't want you to work, but you so in love with him that you want to do just what he wants you to do.
Well, that's why ladies should always be independent before you get involved in a relationship. Come into the relationship with your own.
That's right.
So a man can never say, well, that's mine, this mine, that mine. Start naming it. You know, it's different when you get married in a committed, loving relationship and you build these things together. But not in no beginning of a relationship and you allow yourself to get sucked into that one.
Based on abusive.
But yeah, true. But you know what happens to men too? They sit there and, you know, they won't live up to their potential, and the woman, she might be the breadwinner, and that man just sitting home, just
playing games,
doing whatever. And then she look, every time that lady come home, she come home with vengeance on that man, calling that man out his name or whatever have you, and
might slap him around because some women doing it too.
You know, but that's
women doing it too. Let's be real now, boo.
Yeah, there's a lot
of women abusing men too, and it's just not talked about as much.
And I don't think that's nothing to be laughed at. We're just joking amongst each other, but laughing at an individual getting abused is serious.
It's serious, and that's not what I was laughing, because it's so true. And people feel like it's only men out here as the abusers. Women are abusing men as well.
Right, and men, if you're in an abusive relationship, don't stay in it. Get up, get yourself out of the relationship, move on before y'all start building things together. You got to tear it down, because that's when things become complicated.
Right.
You know, but we're not going to stay on that one too long, because I think that one is self-explanatory when it comes to the finances. Everybody should come into the relationship with thinking about building your own, so you could come together with it anyway.
Right.
You know, but another one I think we want to talk, I think is really holding the relationship, a person in an abusive relationship, is those children.
Oh, yeah. So many people stay in a relationship for the kids.
Why? Why you think they stay? Because of the children?
I think they stay because they don't want the kids to see them separated.
Or maybe they don't want to see the children without the father.
Right.
You know, at home, because they might have grew up without a father in the house. So that kind of, you know, puts some type of psychology in the minds of the especially women, because they've experienced a lot of abuse in their lives, trauma in their lives as well. So,
but it's unfortunate that they would do that, because it would show the kids abuse. So it's like kind of trying to stop them from letting history repeat itself.
Right.
You know, as a certain person getting abused and they let their children see it.
Especially a male. Yeah,
right. Especially a male. He see his father doing it to his mother, then he even grow up thinking that's the way he needs to do it.
To treat women.
Treat women, or he could be resentful against it.
And the psychology of that is, if they see their mama getting smacked upside the head, then that little boy grows up, and when he gets in a relationship, he'll meet a young lady, and the relationship can be going swell. It can be going right. But then as soon as conflict enter into that relationship, that young child only resorts to what he knows to try to control the relationship and what's going on at that time. And that's when violence will probably occur. You know, so it's important to get yourselves out of an abusive relationship, because your young male children can be picking up that bad habit and will practice that in their relationship as they go older. But what about the young lady? What they see?
That's what I'm saying. And also for the females, they will find it as a form of love. Back to what we said.
Right.
I love him. So they think because he abused them, because they did something that he didn't like, it's love. So it's just not good all around the board.
Yes. And again, folks, that is not love. Love does not hurt. Not at all. If it hurt, it's not love. It only hurts when you love. If you love them so much, you should learn to leave them if they're that bad.
That's right.
Point blank, you know, and I can't stress that no more than what we're saying.
Right.
Violence of any kind, abuse of any kind is no reason to stay, no matter if you think it's for the children or not. If they're a good parent, then they'll be able to see their parent outside of you guys' relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's, you have anything else you want to add to that?
I agree with you 100%. Everything that you're saying, because it's just not worth it. And to me, where does it come from? Is it from low self-esteem? Is it from, just growing up seeing it? It's just so many mental avenues of how people accept abuse and how abuse is being presented to that person.
But you asked the question, you said, where does it start? I believe in a lot of people, it start generations past where they're at. So it might have happened in their great grandmother's generation, three, let's just say 3 generations before theirs.
Right, I agree.
Where abuse, where how men used to treat women and were able to get away with it. And I think those things carry down into the days that we living in now. So you have to break these cycles that's going on with the abuse, and then I think we could get a good grasp on what's going on.
Absolutely.
But okay, so I think we hit that one on the head just enough. But if y'all out there think that we haven't hit that one on the head enough, make sure you comment and share and like, and we can discuss it a little bit further. But getting into the next one I think is the fear of starting over.
Oh yeah.
Man, can you shed any light on that?
Some people rather stay in an abusive relationship than to deal with somebody else or meet someone else or stay by themselves until God bring that person to them. They just feel like where they at is where they supposed to be. So they really fear, starting all over, like dating someone else, or maybe just dating yourself and finding who you really are, so you can evaluate that you more than that, and for somebody to put their hands on you. That's my point.
If the fear of starting over, for instance, people look like, well, maybe we done bought a house together. We done got this Mercedes 550 out there. We live in this high fancy lifestyle. So a lot of people will stick an abusive relationship out
for material
wealth and what looks good to other people. But you need to ask yourself, does this work for you? Does this feel good? Can you sustain this type of relationship just because of material items?
Is it worth it?
Man, ain't no knot upside my head going to be worth a 550 Mercedes.
Oh my God, I'll be fighting for days.
I'll catch public transportation before somebody lay their hands on me. I'm telling you.
Me too. You ain't never lied. I'm so worth more than that.
Right. But again, how about this one? People who are in their late 50s, 60s. You hear about it all the time. They separate in their 50s and 60s after being married for 30 years, 25 years. And they don't want to get out of that abusive relationship because they think the dating pool has shrunk on them. So, they'll stick it out. But one thing my grandfather told me, that when it comes to men, the more money you got, the more, no matter how old you get, people still will be around you. Whether they love you or not is a different question.
Oh yeah, the women go chase them dollars for real. You could be old, cripple, and a millionaire.
Right.
You gonna have the beautifulest woman on the planet.
Right.
That slap them around and everything in your old age, and they still gonna stay.
So listen, you got an abusive mate out there. Just make sure your stuff is in order, where you can have a plan that you can get away from it and set up somewhere else away from that type of individual
Yeah.
until you think it's clear enough to be safe. So I think we hit that one a little bit on the head.
Yeah, and we're not any experts.
No,
there.
no.
So we want your specialties as well in the comment.
We just want to help talk people through it and maybe open up their minds to see that
It's real.
if it's an abusive relationship, get out. Period. So I believe when you know you're in an abusive relationship, it's because they're isolating you from their family and friends.
Your friends.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all know a few of those type of people out there when y'all used to hang out all the time. You and your girlfriends used to hang out, and then all of a sudden that one girlfriend can't come around you no more. Her family say she doesn't call anymore. Things of that nature. So when they get involved with an individual who tells them things like, I don't like what you're wearing, or do you have to go out with them type of people all the time? Well, why is your sister calling you so much? Beware.
And make them feel like they have nowhere else to go.
Wow.
Like you have nowhere else to go. You know, one thing you do not do is cut everybody out of your life when you're in a relationship.
Wrong.
Whether it's good or bad.
Never do that.
Whether it's good or bad. And people feel like because they have a great relationship that they can stop, cut everybody out and friends and family out. No, you cannot.
And me being a man, ladies, don't ever cut your family or friends out. Because if you give a man that type of power, he's going to put the law down on you and he's going to become your law. So never cut out the men out your family. Ever. Don't ever do that. Brothers and fathers, make sure you keep them close because they're the ones that's going to step in if it's really serious enough.
Right.
So, or they might not even have to do that because, men who are abusive normally are cowards anyway. So when they know other men are around, they won't even dare try it half the time anyway. Not saying that you don't have these men out here with these screws loose.
Yeah, because they pull the triggers now quicker than anything.
Easy.
And the selfish thing about it, they would pull the trigger on themselves after they pull it on whoever.
Right.
So this situation is a very hard situation.
Yes.
And it needs a lot of people need to pray about the situation because the mental state can handle things so differently. And people are so easy to be manipulated or controlled.
Exactly. Excuse me. So that being said, never isolate yourself from any of your family and friends. Make sure you stay connected all the time. Well, another one I believe that keeps, people in caught up with these abusers is that they basically lose self-esteem.
Yeah.
Such as, the abuser calls them ugly. Nobody gonna love you like I do.
Right.
I'll break your face and nobody won't ever look at you again. And so they break them down, belittle them so much.
Years of criticism.
Right. And abuse,
constantly.
Mental abuse to the 100 power. So, that type of thing to me is psychological. Those are psychological abusers.
Right, because if you think about it, humiliation can make you feel like you're not able to do anything.
Right.
Like if somebody constantly in your ear telling you can't do this, you can't, anything you do is not right, it mentally tears you down to start believing everything that they're telling you.
Right. And I believe those type of abusers, they work on that.
Oh, yeah.
They sit there and try to figure out what I could do to make this individual break even more.
Right.
Because this is a matter of control. Abuse is nothing more than control and manipulation because they don't know how to be real men. So they use force in many different ways. So that's my
They are professor. They are a professor when it comes to the mental control.
Wow. they need to go to some type of college on a deserted island and teach that one, because
I tell you,
ain't nothing. It's terrible when you see that type of mental type of stuff going on with, our young ladies out here. So don't get involved with people who belittle you. Look for that red flag, the first sign of mental control.
mm-hmm.
If you can't put your foot down and change their minds of how they think soon as they start that, then that type of red flag means get out.
Right.
Period.
And when you're in such a vulnerable situation, that's when people easily to manipulate you.
Right.
So that's why you don't leave friends and close family. Find somebody that you can really trust and kind of pretty much tell these things. I'll be your mother. Because
Right.
you can trust your mother, and she's not going to tell nobody your business. So,
And to add piggyback
Or
on
fathers.
right, to piggyback on that a little bit, when you talk about embarrassment and shame, I mean self-esteem, low self-esteem, if you got a type of man who only he buys your clothes or helped you pick out your clothes. Now you're walking around in clothes that you normally you would never buy. So you just don't have things that'll pick you up.
right.
So beware of these things. That's all I'm saying. So you want to add a little bit on that?
I disagree. I mean, I think just like that movie, The Diary of a Black Man.
What about?
She got so fed up with the mental abuse at the end when he got hurt. He was in a wheelchair, and she knocked him right in the tub in a wheelchair.
Did she put baby oil on the floor or something? No, it's not, Cherry.
I don't know about that one, but I'm just saying people start getting fed up when I go back to that mental thing.
Right.
That mental state, and that's when people snap. Sometimes they in such an abusive relationship, and the abuser end up getting killed by the one who was being abused.
And that's one thing I don't understand is I don't care if you're this big giant man. The wrath of a woman is terrible, because once you push the wrong button, you done did something to her. How you gonna go to sleep with that type of energy over top of you at that point? That person is sitting there looking at you while you sleep. So you should think about that before you try to abuse somebody, because it can come back on you now, So again, self-esteem. I mean, we was on self-esteem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, self-esteem could be one of the issues why people, stick out these type of abusive relationships. And I believe the last one that we want to talk about is embarrassment and shame. Somebody just been in this relationship. Everybody around you've been getting abused. This person been laying hands on you. Your clothes look terrible. You got black eyes, knots on your head and stuff. So now you're just too embarrassed to go around your family and friends.
Right.
You start missing work, calling off and things of that nature. So that could really play a part in that.
Missing in action. I mean, not going to things or excuses.
All the time.
Oh my God, abusive relationship. Women make so many excuses for that man.
Oh, I hate that. Don't make no excuses.
He can't do anything wrong, because every time you say he did, he did something. It's always something to come back to make it seem like it's supposed to be right.
Right. Exactly. That's the worst, So that on top of that, make sure you stay good with your friends and family. Make sure you let them check up on you, call all the time, and you stay transparent. You don't have to tell all your business in your household. But when it comes to certain things like abuse, some of them the ones you really trust, they might listen to you and help you develop a plan to get away from an abuser.
Right.
Whether it's taking you to a safe place, the police station, taking you out the state, far away from that individual, so you can restart because you might have to.
Right.
Because some of these people out here are just
insane,
ridiculous. So.
And then also you have to put in accountability where some women they want to leave, but then they don't.
Right.
That's a whole different topic. Is they would stay there, and the people who really help them be the ones who getting hurt.
Right.
So it's like I say again, abuse is a hard situation that anybody have to deal with.
Right.
But I also feel like some women should always if they in an abusive relationship and don't know how to get out of it, they should always have a plan, a backup plan for themselves. Some clothes packed, passports, whatever, where they feel they like that in danger, they have to get away.
Well, Boo, I would like to sit here because I'm sure there's a whole lot more we could discuss on this topic, because this topic, I'm sure, hits home to a lot of people. So, what I want to know from the people out there watching, if somebody you knew close to you came to you and told you that they were being abused, what would you do? Would you try to help them? Would you try to give them any advice or anything? What would you do? Or would you do nothing? Whatever you do, make sure you comment and subscribe to Flavors with Boo
And
Potato. So we love you. Make sure if you're in an abusive relationship, find a way out of there and leave.
and tell someone. Don't keep it a secret. Till next time, subscribe.